Warsaw, Wrocław, Gdańsk, Krakow was never destroyed during Second World War. It's quite unique, unfortunately, in the Polish history. Why? When the Second World War started on the 1st of September 1939, Hitler had already planned for Krakow. Occupation of Krakow started 1 week later. 3 weeks later, Warsaw capitulated. That was the end, almost the end of defensive war for us. Part of Poland was incorporated by Third Reich, but part became a new country that was proclaimed by the Nazis, by the Germans, and this country was called General Government. And Hitler chose Krakow to be the capital of it. Do you know what does it mean? It means that during Second World War, Krakow was a very German city. It was the city of the Nazis, but it was a city also of regular people who were coming here to set up new business, to find new opportunities. There were cafes for Germans, museums for Germans, cinemas for Germans, everything for Germans. This is why the city was not destroyed. As when the Soviets came to liberate it in January 1945, Germans were already back at home. So there was no point for them to defend the city. They just left it, escaped it, and went back to Third Reich. This is why everything we are going to see today is how it looked like before Second World War or even in the Middle Ages. There's also another face of the city I would like to tell you briefly about. Krakow, before Second World War, was also home to the big Jewish community. And this Polish Jewish history is actually very difficult history, but very important for us. Before Second World War, Poland was home to the largest Jewish community in whole Europe. Till 19th century, it was actually the largest Jewish community in the world. That's why the old Jewish quarter we have nearby the old town, it's in this direction, is a great memorial to the Jewish past of Poland and to some extent to the Jewish past of Europe. In Krakow you can still find 7 old synagogues dating back even to 15th century, one of the oldest that remained in Europe. And you can retrace the Jewish history, but also the history of Oskar Schindler, who was here during Second World War. Have you seen the film, the movie, The Schindler's List? Some of you yes, some of you no, but I hope you are familiar with just the title. It was one of the most famous movies about Second World War and Holocaust, and to be honest, the most realistic one, made by Steven Spielberg here in Krakow, in the old Jewish city. But let's start with the oldest inhabitant of Krakow, the dragon. Once upon a time there was a dragon living in one of the caves of the Wawel hill. Look, this is a natural hill with some caves, a lime rock. It was very cruel and very fussy beast because it used to eat only the virgins. The king was crying days and nights as he couldn't find any knight brave enough to kill the dragon. But one day small shoemaker came to the court and he said that he would do it, he would kill the dragon. And everyone started wondering how come such a tiny shoemaker, what he could do. But he was a very clever guy. He bought a sheep, lamb, cut its belly and put sulfur inside. And he threw it into the cave of the dragon. Of course the dragon ate it immediately, and it got so thirsty that it started drinking Vistula river. And it was drinking and drinking and drinking and drinking and drinking, and suddenly, pooh, exploded as it drank too much. But this is the reason why if you go to any souvenir shop around the main square, you will find hundreds of different dragons. And this is the most famous. As you saw, it still belches with fire every couple of minutes. One of the most important churches in Poland. There are several reasons for that, and the first one is that it is one of the oldest churches in Poland, dating to about 1000. Today it's actually a beautiful combination of different styles as it was rebuilt several times. So as you can see, it's a combination of towers, chapels, domes, dating back to different periods. It is also the main coronation and the burial church for the Polish kings. So for us, visit to this church is a brief lesson of the history of Poland. It is also a big pilgrimage center due to the relics of St. Stanislaus, who is buried inside the cathedral. He was the Bishop of Krakow, who was living in 11th century and who was killed by the king. We don't know exactly the reasons of this conflict. We know it had to be very serious conflict between the church and the state that ended up with a crime. As a result, the king was simply kicked out from Poland, and 150 years later, Bishop was canonized and he became the main patron saint of Poland. So his relics are buried in the Royal Cathedral, and this is a place frequently visited by pilgrims. Till today, the Royal Cathedral is the seat of Krakow's bishops, so it is one of the most important churches connected with St. John Paul II. He celebrated his first Mass as a priest here in this cathedral in November 1946. According to the official statistics, around 94% of people living in Poland, they declare they are Catholics. Of course, sometimes it's declaration and nothing follows. It's just the fact that they were brought up in this culture and they feel like connected to it. But according to unofficial statistics, still about 60-70% of people living in Poland go to church and somehow practice religion, which is a big percentage, is a big group of people in Europe in comparison to other countries. For sure, the reason for this is the mission and the pontificate of St. John Paul II, who helped to keep religion in this country. Among other post-communist countries like Czech Republic, Hungary, Poland still seem to be very Catholic.